Hi everybody, I'm Juanne. I'm the consultant optometrist and orthokeratologist at Eye Braces Clinic at Siglap Center. Thank you Geniebook for inviting me to give this eye talk, and thank you everyone for tuning in to this webinar. I'm very excited to be here, and I hope you had a nice dinner before this eye talk. Just a short introduction about myself. I specialize in orthokeratology, also known as Orthok lenses, which is one of the growing popular options of myopia control in children. Okay. All right, so in my practice, I see children average about age 6 to 14 years old. Some of the common complaints that I often hear from parents are that, for example, my child is complaining that he cannot see the whiteboard in classroom. Does he have myopia? For example, my child is constantly rubbing his eyes. Is there anything wrong with him? But sometimes parents hear about a certain notion and they're not too sure whether is it true or false, and they are not sure whether is it proven or backed up by any scientific evidence. So there are many uncertainties and hearsay among parents. Today's webinar, we are going to debunk some of the common myths that we've heard and lay out the facts that we ought to know about. All right, so the first myth that I've commonly heard in my practice is, parents will be telling me that they have perfect eyesight, they don't wear glasses when they are young, so therefore they expect that the child would not have myopia. All right, first of all, we need to know what is myopia. Now, myopia occurs when the eyeball grows too long. Okay, in an ideal scenario, we want the eyeball to go to about 24 millimeters by the age of 21 years old. So at any point of time, if the eyeball goes too long, beyond this range, he or she may have developed myopia. Now, when one is having myopia, you would find that the distance vision is very blurry, but things up close or within arm's reach, they appear clearer. Okay, and oftentimes that is when children notice that their blurring of vision happens when they are looking in the classroom and they're looking at the whiteboard, or sometimes when they're in the car and they're trying to read some of the signs, the words on the road signs, or maybe when they're watching a television that is placed far away, they may not be able to see, let's say, the subtitles or some words on the TV. Okay. Some parents do observe certain symptoms and signs that could indicate myopia. That is when they start to see their child start to squint their eyes like this, or let's say when they try to hold their book closer and closer towards the face. Possible complaints of headaches. You would probably also notice that they may have a shortened attention span. And also, if you find that how come suddenly their academic grades has been affected, these are some of the telltale signs that may prompt you to probably bring your kids to an eye exam soon. Okay, and do you know that in Singapore we have one of the highest prevalence of myopia in the whole world? Okay, by primary 6, 65% of our children are myopic, and 83% of the young adults are already myopic. So this is why we are addressing this serious issue. Okay, so let's look at some of the main factors of myopia. So we have three big main factors. As you can see from the slide over here, we have genetics, near work, and outdoor time. Okay, so out of these three, we cannot control or change one of them, and that is genetics. We cannot change our genetics material, we cannot choose who our parents are. Okay, if their child is born to one myopic parent, the chances of the child getting myopia is 25%. If the child is born to two myopic parents, the chances of the child getting myopia will increase to 50%. Okay, so there is a strong correlation between parents and the children of chances of getting myopia. Of course, this is not just the main factor. Environmental factors such as near work and outdoor time contribute significantly to the development of myopia. Now, studies have shown that near work, let's say prolonged up-close work, just reading a book, looking at computer or phone or screen, it may worsen myopia. Of course, understand that this is a very broad and big topic, and parents are always asking about the association of near work and myopia. So we will cover that in the later slides. All right. Some parents will also ask, is it just electronic devices or even books as well, or other drawing or whatsoever? Okay, so yes, everything encompasses is just near work. Now, with regards to outdoor time, it's established that active lifestyle does help with myopia development to be prevented or to be slowed down. So, if you notice our parents' generation, when they're living in the kampong lifestyle, most of the time their childhood are spent outdoors, playing hopscotch, catching, and even marbles as well. So, if you realize, most of them do not wear glasses when they are young. Okay, so this kind of supports the hypothesis of exposure to bright outdoor lighting being protective of myopia development. Okay, of course, these are the three main factors of myopia. Some parents will ask me if diet plays a part in the myopia role. I would say that there is no particular food that can prevent or slow down myopia. Just eat everything in moderation. Of course, there are foods and food that you can consider to implement in the diet. So, green leafy vegetables and carrots are very high in vitamins and antioxidants. Okay, they're all very good for our eye health. The whole family of berries like raspberry, blackberries, blueberries, they are very, very high in antioxidants. So, there's no harm in incorporating them into your children's diet. It will definitely promote better eye health in general, and it may reduce the risk factor of developing certain eye diseases in the future. Okay, so if I give you two scenarios whereby I have a child who's leading a sedentary lifestyle, loves to read without any visual breaks, versus another child who loves cycling, also reads a lot but take a lot of visual breaks, I would be more concerned with the former child of the chances of him getting myopia. All right, moving on to myth number 2. Using phone and computer will worsen myopia, but reading a book is fine. Okay, again, this is bringing back to the association of near work and myopia. There has been a lot of talks and concerns between parents, and we need to know what exactly is near work causing myopia, like what is the mechanism of it, okay? Well, of course, it's probably not the screen itself that is an evil thing, but it's probably the usage of it. Okay, how close are we holding the screen or the reading material, and the duration of usage. Okay, so let's touch on the viewing distance first. So viewing distance of the reading material is very important. As if we were to have two children again, one who likes to lie on the bed and holding the book in front on top of him, probably about 10 cm away, versus another child who is sitting upright with a book on the table and not leaning forward. Again, I'll be more worried for the first child in that scenario. Okay, so what exactly happens when the reading book is getting closer and closer to us is that you could feel that our eye muscles are trying very hard to team our eyes together, and you could feel that there's this tension between our eyebrow. Okay, so what is happening inside our eyes is that it's trying to work very hard together to hold in that state, which is a very stressful state for our eyes to be in, and it's trying to focus all the words that's on your book onto your retina. Okay, again, this is a very demanding, stressful state. And once you hold the material further away, you could feel that tension relieving, and the eye starts to relax a little bit more. That's why viewing distance is very important for children. Okay, duration of near work matters as much as viewing distance. So imagine that scenario that I gave you. Okay, imagine holding that stressful state for a long period of time. That would certainly tire our eyes out, and eventually our eyes or our body in general is always trying to find ways to compensate, and sometimes this coping mechanism could be harmful to our eyes, harmful to our bodies. Okay, so this may mean that the eyes will start to send the wrong signals, and it will promote eye growth, so our eyes start to grow longer and longer, which may cause myopia to worsen. So having said all this, does that mean near work is bad? Should we avoid near work entirely? Well, of course not. I mean, we are born with eyes that allow us to enjoy a range of distances, okay? And schooling is important as well. So as long as we have good eye care habits and an active lifestyle, I believe that we can still keep myopia at bay. Okay, so let me just share some tips that you can consider to protect your child's vision. Striking a balance between indoor and outdoor time is very important, and I know that this can be an art to master for most parents, as especially parents who are working. Okay, I would say try your best as much as possible. Keep all this in mind, and I think we are doing our best for our children. Okay, now for outdoors time, I would encourage at least 60 to 90 minutes per day as much as possible. I think it will be easier if the child adopts a certain hobby that's done outdoors, for example, swimming, cycling, playing badminton or basketball. Yeah, that would be helpful for them. Okay, monitor screen times. So try to keep leisure time under an hour. Okay, parents can consider installing those screen timers. I think there might be a certain feature or function in some of the iPads. So what they do is that you can preset a duration before the child is using the screen. So for example, 20 minutes. And then after the time is up, the screen will automatically turn off by itself. So it will prompt and remind the child to go for a visual break, for example. There are many helpful apps that you can consider to download in your app store. So some apps that actually help to track the viewing distance. So, for example, if the screen is brought too close, okay, the screen will start to darken. Then they will know that, okay, they need to move it further away. That's when they know that, okay, they start brighten up again. They know this is the appropriate viewing distance to do their assignment or read something off the screen, right? One last recommendation that I would give is to consider casting their, let's say, online classes or any assignments onto the TV instead. I would prefer the TV because it's a much bigger screen and it's usually placed further away from our eyes. So it's much relieving for our eyes as compared to our phone devices, which is much nearer to our eyes and it's of a much smaller device as well, harder to see. Okay, some parents do ask me whether blue light blocking lenses do help or play a role in myopia control, and the straightforward answer is no. Okay, they have claims whereby it will help to relieve or reduce the eye fatigue and eye strain, and I think it's probably useful for office workers who are heavy computer users. Who are always spending the time on the computer, but do note that they may make things look a bit more yellowish. Okay, so I do not advise people with occupations like designers or any kind of job that requires them to differentiate colors accurately, because this might distort their color vision ability. Okay, but bringing back to whether it has a myopia control role, no, it does not. So I would say until there is enough scientific evidence to back up these claims, then we may consider it into our lifestyle. Okay, some of the claims of these blue light blocking lenses also say that they have it's beneficial for the retina health. Again, myth or fact, we don't know at this point because there is not enough evidence to tell us this. Okay. All right, so as I mentioned before, the viewing distance of the material is very important. So keep it around 40 cm. If you're not able to gauge what is 40 cm, follow this rule, this elbow rule, whereby you put a fist by your eye and then you take the elbow as a reference like this, okay? So the reading material or the screen should not go past the elbow. Okay, we want to try to keep it over here, right? This will ensure the appropriate viewing distance for the child to use. Okay, and lastly, also the room lighting is very important. You need to make sure that it's in a brightly lit room when they're doing their assignments or reading. Okay, if you have a desk lamp at the side, that would be helpful as well. Sometimes you notice if your child is trying to lean on one side like this or the other, try to encourage them to have a proper posture and make sure that they're using their eyes together. Because what I see in my consult room is that some children, they have one eye perfect eyesight and the other eye 300. So it's very asymmetrical. So that could be due to the reason, the cause of that leaning to one side too big. So try to use both eyes together. Okay. Lastly, encourage regular breaks. So visual breaks are very important. I cannot emphasize that enough. Okay. Visual breaks can be as simple as taking a toilet break or just looking something far away out of the window. Now follow this golden 20-20 rule. So for every 20 minutes, take a 20 seconds break. Okay. Also, sleep is very important in this age group. You need to ensure, if possible, they have undisturbed 8 to 10 hours of sleeping time. I know this can be a luxury for some children who have CCAs after school, but just try as much as possible, because having a consistent waking time and bedtime is actually very beneficial in the long run. Okay, and so you want to make sure that we don't put any screens in the bedroom. All screen devices or all reading materials, try to put it out of the bedroom. All right. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so living in this digital age has actually provide accessibility to knowledge and information at the comfort of our homes. So, like I mentioned before, the screen is not the evil thing. You might be thinking more about the viewing distance and the usage of it. So, I've come up with an appropriate balanced playtime study schedule for you to consider to take reference as. Okay, so Geniebook is one of the popular online learning educational platform that offers a variety of creative and interactive way of learning. So one segment of their study material is a worksheet, and this would take probably about 20 to 30 minutes to complete per worksheet. They also have live recorded lessons, so it takes about 45 to 60 minutes per lesson. All right, and if students have any questions to ask, they can log on to Genie Ask Chats, and that will take about 10 to 15 minutes to get the answer. Okay, so let's have a look at the sample template that I've came up with. So this is an example of an average student, who have 3 subjects on his plate. He takes about 9 worksheets per week that needs to be completed. He attends live recorded classes about 3 times a week. Log on to Genie Ask 4 times a week like this, and he enjoys playing badminton. So from this timetable, you can see that for the weekdays morning, of course, the time is spent in school. Now for afternoon and evening weekdays, we try to divide it equally for playtime and study time. So as much as we can, let's portion out the ratio to 50-50. Of course, some days we can study a bit more, some days play a bit more, and vice versa. All right. For weekends morning, I'll prioritize for outdoor activities, because I think this is the best time to catch the morning sun and enjoy your outdoor sport. Saturday afternoon, you can leave it to do complete some assignments, take live record or recorded classes. Class also possible. For Sunday, maybe you want to extend the number of hours for outdoor activities. Okay, so main take-home message is to balance out, portion out outdoor time. If possible, have them alternating in one day. If not possible to go out that day, then probably have longer visual breaks at home. Yeah, okay, but you get the idea of it. Okay, so myth number 3, there is no way to slow down the progression of myopia. Okay, so while it is true that there is no cure for myopia, there are actually a lot of myopia control treatments available in the market itself. So these are 2 of the myopia control treatments, but of course there are a lot more which I will briefly touch on. So what I mean by myopia control treatments means that, for example, before the child starts any myopia control treatments, he or she is progressing about 100 degrees per year. Now, after she starts myopia control treatment, okay, her power is increasing by 25 per year instead of 100 per year originally. Okay, so you can see that the myopia has slowed down and the pace and rate has been much slower than before. Okay, all right, let's start with myopia control spectacles. Now, they look like any other ordinary glasses, just that their lens design are very much different. They have a certain portion that is a little bit blurry, and that will actually help to discourage eye growth, and this is proven by scientific evidence. One good thing about, actually many good things about myopia control spectacle is it's easy to use. You just have to put it on your face, wear it all the time as much as possible. Of course, when the child goes to school, parents very hard to track whether did they wear it on all the time, or are they peering over the glasses, because I have seen some children actually doing that, and then it will not be effective anymore. Okay. Now, of course, having a frame in front of the eyes, that would limit the field of vision. So when they are playing sports, they might have slower reaction time because they have more head movements to come around. It is more affordable, and this is a non-invasive treatment. There's no risk of any eye infection. Okay, so these are the pros and cons that you can consider for myopia control spectacles. Now, the effectiveness ranges around 30 to 60%. Okay. Right, so since we are on the topic of spectacles, okay, I have seen parents showing me this pair of glasses, which are called pinhole glasses. Okay, now they probably find it in some local drugstore like Watson's. So they feel that once they put it on, things appear clearer. Well, it's true, but the keyword is since it has a temporary effect, but we do not encourage this to use for any purpose, because it actually limits and cuts out a lot of our peripheral vision, which is our surrounding. So we're not able to tell who is beside us. So it's actually very dangerous to be walking around with this. We do use pinhole lenses in during assessment or any eye test when we want to screen out the possibility of an eye disease whatsoever, but we do not prescribe them. Okay, so it definitely has no myopia control role, so I would not advise using this. What you can let your child don on is a pair of spectacles, a pair of sunglasses when they're outdoors. Okay, so UV protection is very important, and it needs to start from young. And moreover, living in Singapore, we have one of the highest rate of UV as well, those harmful UV rays. So it's better to get those wraparound sunglasses that can shield out all directions of UV, and try to get those with proper certification. Usually, if you get it from optical shops, they're all pretty good. Yeah, all right. Okay, moving on to another treatment which I specialize in is called orthokeratology. So this involves a pair of rigid, specially designed contact lenses that you put it in a child's eye before they go to sleep. Then when they wake up in the morning, you remove the lenses, they're able to see clearly for the rest of the day. Okay. Now, what it does is that it reshapes the cornea, and a sufficient amount of sleep is required to clock. Okay. Now, of course, we know that the intention of Orthok is to control myopia. It also helps to correct the vision, so that's why they don't have to wear any other spectacles in the daytime. So it's very convenient and suitable for children who have a very active lifestyle, let's say where they are into gymnastics, fencing, or taekwondo, whatsoever. Okay, effectiveness for myopia control is about 50%, though I have seen children achieving 80 to 100% in my clinic. Of course, this comes with very good sleep discipline, because once they wear the lenses, they are expected to go to sleep straight away, okay, to ensure optimal correction of their vision. Okay, sometimes when the child puts on the lenses on the first time, they may be a bit fearful of it, and they may need time to adapt. So this is normal, and there is always a learning curve. Okay, now with anything that you put in the eye, even your soft lenses, it always poses a risk of eye infection. Okay, of course, eye infection usually stems from very poor hygiene. It means maybe the child forget to wash his hands before handling those lenses. Let's say non-compliance. So if they have good hygiene and follow the instructions properly that we given out, then the risk is actually very, very low. And of course, right now, we don't have to wear any glasses that don't have limit our field of vision. They're able to enjoy the wider field of vision, and they don't have to turn their head purposely just to maneuver around, let's say, for example, when they have the frame in front of them. Okay, so these are just two of the common myopia control treatments. Of course, we have heard before atropine eye drops and myopia control soft lenses. Okay, some parents may ask whether they should be combining both of them or pairing them up. I think it's worth a shot. Okay, if you know that it will not give an adverse reaction and that they complement each other well, I think it's worthwhile to try in combination. But of course, doing so, we're not able to know whether which one works effectively. Okay, but so far we still need more scientific evidence again to see whether in combination does it help. But some have mentioned that is alright. Also, we need to know that some myopia control treatments, if let's say you decide to discontinue, okay, they need to be tapered off slowly. So, for example, atropine eye drops, all right. Let's say I have a parent that wish to discontinue the treatment for whatever reason, okay, I have one parent whereby they stop suddenly applying the eye drops in the child's eye and I see a rebound effect. That means there's a sudden spike of myopia, okay? So that one, you need to make sure that if you decide to discontinue the treatment, you need to consult your own doctor or an optometrist who specializes in myopia control so that they can provide you the proper tapering schedule to avoid the rebound effect. Okay. All right, okay, so let me just share briefly this case study that I saw. So I saw this 13 years old girl who has a high myopia in both eyes. Both parents are myopic. She said that she's very upset that her power is progressing about 25 every year and she wished to stabilize her myopia. So when I first saw her, her power for the right eye is already minus 650 and the left eye is minus 550. Okay, this is considered high myopia. So of course, this case is considered complex. We will need to make sure that we design and customize the lens properly for her. Now her CCA is done, so we went on to prescribe Orthok lenses for her so that she can enjoy the convenience when she's dancing. I heard that some parents actually told me that some of their dance teachers discourage the use of spectacles during performances, when they're on stage, because some children actually need to do certain tricks like pirouettes and chaîné turns. They actually find it very hard to spot without their spectacles. So I believe if it presented such a profile, I think they will benefit from Orthok having their myopia controlled and vision corrected. Okay, now, so we know that myopia occurs because the eyeball grows longer. So we have this specialized equipment whereby we can measure the eyeball length to monitor how effective is the treatment and how well is the myopia control. All right, so as you see from this graph over here, now the x-axis tell us the timeline. So you can see that many data plots are there through the course of treatments, which is about 4 years from 2018. And then it's plotted against the XL length, which is the eyeball length. So you can see it's a very flat graph, and when I see this kind of pattern, I'm very happy. Parents are also very happy. We know that we have successfully achieved 100% myopia control, meaning that she's able to enjoy clear vision and knowing that her myopia is successfully controlled. Of course, I do not take full credits for this. I'm fortunate that this child is very motivated and committed to wearing her lenses every night so that we can achieve such results. Okay, all right, the last myth we have is myopia is a harmless condition. Okay, so while your optometrist is not just concerned about your child's glasses getting thicker and heavier, but also the health of the retina just at the back part of the eye. Okay, so as we know by now, myopia occurs when the eyeball grows too long. So when the eyeball is longer and longer, we find that the retina is very stretched out and thin. Okay, so something like a big balloon. Okay, so of course, in this state, it poses a risk of developing little holes at the back part of the eye, some tears, or potential breaks that may lead to a condition called retinal detachment, which may need surgery to reattach back. Of course, it will pose a higher risk for them getting cataracts at an early age, or glaucoma, or even macular degeneration, which are all conditions that may lead to a potential visual impairment permanently. Okay, so from this table, which I quote from myopiaprofile.com, which is an amazing website established by renowned scientists and optometrists in Australia, okay, you can see that as the level of myopia increases, okay, the risk of having them getting these conditions are potentially exponentially higher. Okay, so that's why parents, what you can do on your end is to bring your child for a regular eye check, probably every 6 months. Okay, some children will actually tell you that, oh, mommy, I cannot see what teacher is writing on the whiteboard. Then that will prompt you to bring her to the optometrist or eye doctor to have her eyes checked. That's very good. But some children will not speak up about it because they didn't know that this blurring of vision is not a norm. They would think that, oh, it's actually normal to those, because it's very subjective to everybody what is blurring of vision means, correct? Okay, so I'm actually very thankful that the Health Promotion Board has this regular annual vision screening in school, because that can help pick up those children that need further attention to, and to bring them to have a comprehensive eye exam. I think during the COVID time it may have stopped a bit, but I hope that it has resumed. Okay, so the sooner that they detect the myopia, the sooner we can manage and control the myopia, then the less risk of them having these eye conditions. Okay, so I think that's all for my webinar. I hope you find this webinar will be informative. All right, so thank you very much and have a good night.